Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something right now. There is a cost to ignoring you. Oh, yes, it may not seem like it in the moment, but there is a price to pay when someone thinks they can walk right past you, act like you don't matter, and pretend that your time doesn't count. Knowing your worth is the foundation of self-respect and success. When you understand your value, you stop allowing others to dictate how you should feel about yourself. It's not about being arrogant or dismissive. It's about being firm in the knowledge that you have something unique to offer. When you truly recognize your worth, you no longer accept being treated as less than you deserve. Too many people get caught up in the need for validation from others. They seek approval, recognition, or attention, hoping it will fill some void. But the truth is, if you don't know your own value, no one else will either. You can't rely on others to constantly remind you of your worth because you need to first believe it for yourself. When you're secure in who you are, other people's opinions, whether positive or negative, won't have the same power. Recognizing your worth also means setting boundaries. If someone consistently ignores you, disrespects you, or undervalues your time and effort, you don't have to stand there and tolerate it. Your worth doesn't come from how someone else treats you. It comes from your actions, your integrity, and the respect you give yourself. When you know your worth, you stop bending over backward to please others. You stop sacrificing your happiness to earn someone else's approval. You realize that you're not meant to chase after people who don't even see the value you bring to the table. There's a certain power in not needing external validation. The moment you stop seeking confirmation from others is the moment you free yourself. This doesn't mean you shouldn't want love or companionship, but it does mean that you should never allow your sense of self-worth to be dependent on someone else's recognition. When you know your worth, you become selective about who you spend your time with. You choose to surround yourself with people who see and appreciate your value because they too recognize their own worth. In any situation, personal or professional, when you understand the depth of your abilities and character, it becomes much easier to make decisions that align with your true potential. You stop compromising on your dreams and start making choices that lead you to growth, fulfillment, and the life you deserve. You stop allowing toxic influences to affect your progress because you know your value and won't settle for less than what you deserve. When you stop chasing after disrespect, you begin to understand that your time and energy are valuable. So many people spend their lives running after approval or trying to win the favor of those who don't truly appreciate them. They feel like they have to beg for attention, trying to prove their worth to people who could care less. But the reality is, chasing after disrespect only leads to exhaustion and disappointment. The more you chase, the further you move away from your own peace and self-respect. People will treat you the way you allow them to. If you constantly chase after someone who dismisses or ignores you, you send a message that their behavior is acceptable. It might seem harmless at first, but the more you chase, the more they'll take your time and presence for granted. The truth is, you can't force someone to appreciate you, just like you can't make someone care if they've already made it clear that they don't. Chasing after disrespect is like giving your power away. You let someone else determine how you feel about yourself, and that is the quickest way to lose control over your own happiness and well-being. Instead of running after people who treat you poorly, invest your energy in yourself. Focus on your goals, your passions, and the people who lift you up and support you. When you stop chasing after disrespect, you begin to realize that your worth isn't tied to anyone else's validation. The moment you stop seeking validation from those who ignore or disrespect you is the moment you start reclaiming your life and your power. The best thing you can do when faced with disrespect is to walk away. Don't waste your time trying to convince someone who doesn't care about you to start caring. Instead, walk away with your head held high and keep moving forward. Focus on the people who see your value, who appreciate your worth, and who respect your time. These are the relationships worth investing in. Chasing after disrespect only teaches you how to accept being treated poorly, and that's not a lesson anyone should learn. When you let go of the need to chase after people who don't treat you well, you give yourself the space to heal, to grow, and to surround yourself with positive energy. You'll find that when you stop chasing after disrespect, respect begins to come naturally. People who truly value you will show up without you having to fight for their attention. You don't have to beg for respect. It will come to you when you stop chasing after those who aren't worth your time. Rising above challenges is not just about overcoming obstacles. It's about using those obstacles to fuel your growth. Every time someone ignores you, disrespects you, or treats you unfairly, it's an opportunity to elevate yourself, not to sink into frustration or resentment. It's easy to get caught up in the feeling that life isn't fair, especially when you know you deserve better treatment. But the real power lies in how you choose to respond. Instead of letting those negative experiences define you, use them as stepping stones to push yourself further. When you rise above, you stop letting the actions of others control your emotional state. You stop reacting impulsively, and instead, you choose a response that reflects your strength and resilience. The world will constantly throw challenges your way, but your reaction to them is what shapes your future. People may ignore you, but that doesn't define your worth. You define your worth by how you carry yourself, how you handle adversity, and how you continue moving forward, regardless of the setbacks. Rising above doesn't mean you ignore your emotions or pretend that the hurt isn't real. It means you acknowledge those feelings, but refuse to let them hold you back. When you're ignored or disrespected, there's a temptation to seek revenge or to let anger take over. But that only keeps you stuck in the negative space where others want to keep you. Instead of allowing yourself to be dragged down, use your energy to rise higher than before. Take those feelings and channel them into something productive, whether that's pursuing your goals, honing your skills, or becoming a better version of yourself. Rising above also means letting go of the need for validation from people who are not worthy of your time or attention. When you stop seeking approval from others, you become unstoppable. You begin to realize that your self-worth isn't dependent on whether or not someone acknowledges you. Their ignorance is not your problem, it's theirs. And by refusing to let it drag you down, you send a clear message to the world that you will not be held back by anyone's inability to see your value. By rising above, you also show others how to treat you. When you remain poised in the face of disrespect or neglect, you set a standard for how you expect to be treated. People will begin to notice that you don't tolerate being ignored or disrespected, and they'll either start respecting you or step out of your way. Either way, you win because you're moving forward and growing regardless of anyone else's actions. Setting your standard high is a powerful way to take control of your life and ensure you're always moving toward the best version of yourself. When you set a high standard, you're not just raising the bar for others, you're raising it for yourself. You refuse to settle for less than what you deserve, and you make it clear to everyone around you that mediocrity is not an option. When you set your standard high, you're creating a life that aligns with your values, your goals, and your potential. It all starts with knowing what you want and what you're willing to accept. A high standard isn't about perfection. It's about refusing to accept situations, people, or circumstances that diminish your self-worth or hold you back from reaching your full potential. You know your value, and because of that, you demand to be treated with the respect you deserve. Your standard becomes a reflection of your belief in your own capability. When you know what you bring to the table, there's no reason to tolerate being treated as anything less than exceptional. Having a high standard means not settling for toxic relationships, unhealthy environments, or situations that don't serve you. If someone is repeatedly ignoring you or disrespecting you, your high standard tells you it's time to walk away. It's not about being rude or demanding. It's about protecting your peace and your growth. You refuse to be around people who don't recognize your worth because you know that surrounding yourself with negativity will only hold you back from the success and happiness you deserve. Setting a high standard also means not compromising on your goals and values. It's easy to get distracted by short-term rewards or by what others expect of you. But when you set your standard high, you stay focused on the bigger picture. You don't let anyone's doubts, criticisms, or neglect make you settle for less. You remain committed to your vision, to your path, and to the kind of life you know you're capable of living. You recognize that every decision you make shapes the person you become. And because of that, you refuse to compromise on your standards. The key to maintaining a high standard is consistency. It's about consistently showing up for yourself, taking action toward your goals, and surrounding yourself with people who lift you up and support your journey. The higher your standard, the more others will start to respect you. People will begin to understand that you're not someone to be ignored, underestimated, or taken for granted. Your high standard sets the tone for how you expect to be treated, and over time, it becomes clear that you're someone who deserves the best. When people regret ignoring you, it's a reminder that their actions have consequences, and they can no longer ignore the impact of their neglect. There's something incredibly powerful about realizing that someone's behavior towards you can come back to haunt them. The people who once took you for granted or disrespected you will eventually understand that their actions have cost them more than they ever expected. The moment they realize their mistake, they will have to face the reality that they've lost something valuable, something they never truly appreciated until it was gone. The truth is, people only learn the value of what they had when it's no longer readily available. For too long, they took you for granted, assuming you would always be there. They believed that your attention, time, and energy were infinite, that they could disregard you without consequence. But when you stop playing their game and start moving forward, the reality begins to sink in. Regret sets in when they realize you've become someone they can't easily replace, someone they underestimated, and someone who no longer has time for their disregard. The real power in regret is that it forces them to confront the truth. They will start to see your growth and success from a distance, wishing they had been a part of it. They will wonder why they didn't value you more when they had the chance. They will begin to see you as someone who's now out of their reach, someone who is living a life they didn't expect you to achieve. But here's the thing. Their regret doesn't have to define your success. Their realization that they were wrong about you is only a reminder of your strength. You've already moved on, and their regret doesn't change the fact that you've grown beyond their reach. When people regret ignoring you, it becomes clear that their actions have had an irreversible impact on their relationship with you. They may come back apologizing or trying to reconnect, but by then you've already found your path without them. Their regret is often the result of seeing your progress, your self-worth, and your ability to thrive without them. You've proven that your success was never dependent on their acknowledgement or validation. You moved forward because you knew your value, and now they have to watch from the sidelines, understanding that they missed the opportunity to be a part of your journey. Ultimately, their regret doesn't need to be your concern. The most important lesson here is that you learn to move forward despite their neglect. Their regret is their burden to carry, not yours. It's a powerful reminder that you don't need anyone's validation to succeed, and that in time, the people who ignored you will be the ones wishing they hadn't. When you keep moving forward with confidence, regardless of how others treat you, you're demonstrating that your life is not dictated by their actions. Life has a way of testing your resilience, throwing challenges in your path, and sometimes even people who should be supporting you will choose to ignore or disrespect you. But the true measure of strength isn't how you react in those moments, it's how you continue to rise and move forward no matter what. When you refuse to let others' neglect stop you, you show that nothing can hold you back. There is power in your ability to keep going even when others try to tear you down or when you're faced with obstacles that seem insurmountable. Confidence isn't about being unaffected by challenges. It's about trusting yourself enough to push through them. When someone ignores you or dismisses you, instead of letting it drag you down into frustration, you channel that energy into something positive. Whether you decide to focus on your goals, invest more time in your passions, or simply work harder to prove your worth, you're taking control of your destiny. The more you move forward with confidence, the more you reinforce the idea that you are in charge of your life and no one else can determine your worth or your success. Confidence comes from within and is built on the understanding that you don't need external validation to feel good about yourself. You know your worth and you believe in your abilities, which makes it easier to keep moving forward despite setbacks. People might try to dismiss you, but they can never take away the progress you've made, the lessons you've learned, or the growth you've achieved. Every step forward, even in the face of neglect, is a testament to your strength and your determination. You refuse to let someone else's actions have the power to determine your future. You rise above, continuing on your path and letting nothing stop your momentum. When you keep moving forward with confidence, you also set the stage for future success. Success is not defined by how many people notice you along the way. It's about the progress you make, the goals you achieve, and the life you create for yourself. The people who ignored you, disrespected you, or took you for granted will eventually see that you didn't need them to succeed. Your confidence will draw others to you, not because you sought their approval, but because you radiate strength, resilience, and a refusal to be deterred by negativity. Those who once ignored you will start to realize that your value was never in their hands, and now they're left watching as you continue to thrive without them. In the end, confidence is the most powerful tool you have in the face of adversity. It's your ability to move forward, to keep growing, and to prove to yourself that you don't need anyone's acknowledgement to succeed. Your confidence becomes the foundation for everything you will accomplish. And the more you walk forward with certainty, the clearer it becomes to others that you are someone not to be ignored.